Hi guys, welcome to my video today. I'm going to do a little bit of a reflection piece today. This is due to the fact that I've just recently applied for a few job roles, and although I'm slowly getting to the place I want to within my UX research type roles, I'm realizing I'm hitting some stumbling blocks. And I kind of want to do this piece today in terms of like a reflection piece, not just for those who are looking to move from one subject to UX like myself, but it's more in terms of reflection for those who are looking for a career change, and also career change particularly within a pandemic. So I'll just give you a bit of a backstory. So again, I'm looking to move over to UX research. It's kind of something I've wanted to do for the past year. I've gone on quite a lot of courses. I've done some tasks within it. I've done a lot of networking within this subject field. My problem is I'm going across some stumbling blocks when I'm going for interviews. So my first task was this past couple months. Sorry, past couple months ago. A few months ago. There we go. Can't get my words out today. A few months ago was focused on trying to understand what kind of job role I want. Was it UX designer role? Was it UX research? Was it product manager? I think for me, my main concern was having a role that utilised my marketing experience going over to UX. And for me, I'm not particularly a designer, so UX designer role didn't really sit well with me. Product manager is something I've got on my CV already, but it's not that type of product manager. My old product manager role was more of a supply chain based product manager role. And some of the elements that I've researched is a bit too technical for me in terms of like technical writing, and also, yeah, that was kind of the main concern. But the UX research role seemed to be more correlating with what I'd done with marketing, so looking at customer insights, understanding a bit more about how the customer thinks in terms of actions related to the brand, creating that emotional connection with the customer and the business, looking at key metrics that we used against. So when I did the campaign management side of things, it was understanding, is it all about awareness? Is it about how many people purchased from this particular offer, that kind of things. And I think for me, it's been good to sort of understand where I want to go. And then it's also helped out with that building block of understanding how I'm getting noticed by recruiters. So by defining who I am and what my key skill sets are and what my history is, I can bring that across within my interviews and my CV. So as I'm finding now, getting more interviews and getting more people interested in myself becoming like I suppose a junior UX researcher, because I'm still new at it. I don't have that experience to what medium to a senior UX researchers have, but I'm still learning. I'm still understanding a bit more about the concepts. And yes, I've had a few interviews this week with some really good companies, and I found out I didn't get the job roles for neither of them. But I don't feel bad. I'm very grateful for that opportunity, and I'm grateful that people pick me out to understand that actually I am growing and there's a massive passion within UX. But I kind of wanted to think about, okay, then what is the next steps, what I can do to actually build up on my experience? Because I'm lucky that I still have a job, but I want to go to the next step now, and I want that next hurdle within my career. So I kind of wanted to just say about a few things where if you're in that similar situation yourself, whereby you're just stumbling across interviews, you're not getting that job role you want, your CV's not hitting out there. I kind of wanted to just do a few tips and tricks that I've kind of reflected on within my past interviews this week. So number one, and this is something my coach has put out to me, is be specific when you give examples. I think for me, I've gone so generic. I didn't go into detail in terms of my explanation. So, for example, I think in the interview I said about being, I'm going to do some user research. And it's like, well, how did you find that? Are you doing field research? Are you doing in-depth interviews? Are you doing ethnographic research? Why are you doing this research? And actually have the questions to define why you're doing it. How does that relate back to the company? How does that integrate with like the other departments in business? So that's a skill set that I'm taking on board forward and looking at doing tasks or understand a bit more about it. Number two is specify your activities. For myself, I didn't really specify again the activities that took place. So I again said like, I do user testing and user research. Define specifically what is meant by that and what outcomes you've had. Number three is try to define any metrics you have possible. that can be delivered. So, for example, I increased ticketing for the Amsterdam to South Africa route. I'm just bringing that in from my Air France KLM experience. But kind of bring in metrics that define that actually you're willing to push the boat out and actually be serious about this job, or actually understand that you're going to work your off to get the job role done, and you have that crossover experience to bring over to it. Number 4 is, and I've just totally forgotten. Number 4 is actually to find what is particularly interesting about yourself. This can be in your personal life, this could be from work experience or education, whatever it could be, but to find something specific to you. So, for example, I've been picked up on this recently, which is really good, and actually it's really encouraging, that I'm creating a social presence online, doing videos like this, and actually doing a UX conference, being UX and still doing a conference. Now that's something that's scary. And actually defining what value that brings to me. So, for example, doing public speaking has been a lifesaver for storytelling. Because when you get information, you get loads of information about user research, you get loads of information about doing user journeys, just as a UX example, you have to create a story behind it so that it can relate to everybody. You've got to put everything in layman's terms, particularly within this sort of environment, and actually explain the reasons why you're doing things. So that's number 4. And number 5 is make sure you seek feedback whenever you do these interviews. Don't just think, oh gosh, I failed at an interview. Be really happy that you actually got somewhere. You know, there must be so many applications go out left, right, and centre at the moment, and people want to know what makes you special and how that can relate back to the business. But, you know, it's kind of get that feedback and understand how you can improve. Take actions from it. So, for myself, I realised this week, again, if I explained earlier in the video, be specific in my answers, look at ways I can actually define the user UX journey and actually define the process a bit more, so I can actually be more specific within interviews and actually feel ready that actually I can take on this job. Because if you see it from you need to be empathetic in this situation. You need to think, oh God, you can't think, oh my God, the employer's blah, 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 blah. You got to think, actually, the employer's doing it for a reason. They want somebody who's good. They want somebody who can take on board. They want somebody who can get the ball rolling without minimal supervision. No matter if it's a junior role or not, they need to feel confident that you are confident doing the job role. And if it shows off in the interview, give you a chance. And that's fair enough. And that's what I've taken on board for next time. Actually feel confident, be more specific when I'm defining what I want to explain. Actually highlight experience like that relates back to it, whether that's gaining experience through doing projects, doing tasks, doing education. Just keep trying, keep going at it. So I would say on the job specifications, from stage applications to interviews, be specific within your examples when on your CV. Make sure it's short and sweet. Make sure the example relates back to the company. Make sure your examples relate back to your own values. You can't go for a company, jump from one company to another and think, oh my gosh, this is exciting. You need to have a company that relates back to your values and wants to make you grow and actually feel like you want to be an employee. So for me, it's being creative, it's being innovative, and I like connections with people. They're my 3 core values. And if a company doesn't encompass that, I don't feel like it's the right fit. And that's the thing going into the interviews as well. Make sure that you interview them as much as they interview you. If their values don't align with where you want to go or who you are as a person, it highlights that it's not the right. It's a red flag to say no. Don't go any further with this interview because it's not for me. You want to feel happy. You want to feel content. You want to make sure that you're getting value from this experience going forward. Make sure that when you do ask questions, make sure it's related specifically back to them. So what you could do is, for example, that I'm doing now is creating a script for an interview, keep it generic, but then when the time comes to research the company, match those questions back to the job description and also back to the company. So then it looks like A, you're interested in the company, B, you're interested in the role, and C, you want to know a bit more about how it relates back. It's a two-way communication, and they really appreciate that within the interviews. Make sure you are specific, make sure you are understanding a bit more about the company, make sure you know about the job role. You want to be 100% sure that this is right for you. So that's kind of my crux of it. And also doing tasks. Tasks are going to be something that pops up. It can be hit and miss what you do with the task, but it is about the company knowing that you're confident doing the job role, and that's the thing. But if you're willing to highlight that you're willing to make mistakes, and also highlight you're willing to learn, it's not a bad thing. So hopefully, I might have blabbered on within this video, but hopefully I've given you a few insights into, I suppose, when you're looking to go from one career to another, particularly in the pandemic, and highlight that actually these are not bad things. You know, if you don't pass an interview or don't pass a CV, look for ways to correct that and look for ways to review it. So then you can get the job role you want, define particularly what your purpose is and actually what you want from a job role, and you'll do fine. Just keep positive at this time. It's all about, if you want something, you really want to pursue it, just do it. Keep trying, keep learning, and keep adapting to where you want to go. So hopefully I've given you some insights in this video, and I shall speak to you next time. Ciao for now.